It appears that early humans started leaving Africa and migrating to parts of Europe before the invention of fire. Was this actually possible given the cold northern climate? In today's episode, we'll explore a multidisciplinary study combining archaeology, climate modeling, and human thermal modeling to estimate temperatures in the distant past and match this with estimates of the lowest tolerable temperature by early humans with and without a few important behavior changes. The journey of the human family tree is a fascinating one. While we are near certain that precursors to humans came from Africa, the timeline and process of their expanding beyond Africa is complex, with possibly multiple migrations and returns along with multiple species turning the family tree into more of a bush or web. Some of the earliest evidence of human settlement in Europe appear to date to the mid-Pleistocene era, ranging from 500,000 to 350,000 years ago. This was during an era of repeated ice ages and glaciation, and also appeared to be before the invention of fire for cooking or warmth, as the archaeological evidence for these ancient sites do not seem to suggest the use of fire. This leads to the obvious question of not just whether human migration to Europe was possible during this period, but also whether it was a seasonal or a permanent migration. There are two parts to addressing the question of whether European migration could have happened without the use of fire. The first is estimating the temperature in Europe during this era. To do this, a Spanish-German research group used climate models to calculate temperatures at over 30 archaeological sites across Europe dating to the mid-Pleistocene. In this graph, the sites are arranged from the oldest on the right to the most recent on the left. On the vertical axis is the calculated minimum temperatures during the coldest months at each site, representing the theoretical worst-case scenario for what early humans would have had to withstand. Despite the cycles of glaciation, the lowest temperature for most of the sites were near 0 degrees Celsius, with the lowest at -10 to -15 degrees Celsius. The scientists also modeled average annual temperatures and temperatures during warmer months to see whether seasonal migration was more likely. The second major question is whether early humans could actually withstand these temperatures. Modern naked humans can generally tolerate ambient temperatures of about 26 to 27 degrees Celsius without sustained shivering. The group used existing human thermal models as a starting point, then adapted it to the predicted life expectancy, body size, and composition of early human males and females. Another adapted factor was the resting metabolic rate while both awake and active, along with while asleep. The latter is important because activity is minimal while sleeping, so heat production is also at its lowest. Furthermore, they factored in whether shelters such as caves were used and, most importantly, whether animal furs were used as blankets while sleeping. The theory for this is sound, as evidence for use of animal fur goes back much earlier than the mid-Pleistocene. Ultimately, the model suggests that, through the combination of shelter and especially animal furs for sleeping, early humans could easily tolerate the ambient temperatures in Europe during the mid-Pleistocene. In this graph are the lowest tolerable temperatures without chronic hypothermia for males in blue and females in red. This is modeled with the lowest heat production while asleep, with no shelter, but with a 5 centimeter thick fur blanket. With no wind, men could tolerate down to -25 degrees Celsius and women down to -16.5 degrees Celsius, much lower than the estimated lowest ambient temperature of -10 to -15 degrees Celsius that we saw in the earlier graph. Even with severe winds of 36 to 72 kilometers per hour, the lowest tolerable temperatures remain safe at -17.5 degrees Celsius for men, and right on the edge of safe for women at -10 degrees Celsius. Overall, this suggests that, thanks to the critical invention of fur use, early humans could have permanently migrated and settled to Europe even without the invention and taming of fire for warmth. Hopefully this video fires up your interest in the fascinating world of environmental physiology. I'm Professor Stephen Chung, and I run the Environmental Ergonomics Lab in the Department of Kinesiology at Brock University. We post new episodes on different topics in environmental physiology every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.